Since 1977, Voyager 2 has been drifting into the black unknown, far beyond the planets, beyond the Kuiper Belt, and now beyond even the grasp of the sun's influence. While our world changed, fought wars, discovered technology, and rewrote its history, Voyager 2 just kept going, quietly transmitting the music of deep space. It became less of a spacecraft and more of a ghost ship, sailing silently through the stars, with its golden record on board, carrying our voices and hopes into eternity. Join us on the enigmatic journey of why, as we delve into another mystery surrounding Voyager breaks silence after catching moving this in deep space. For over 4 decades, its transmissions were predictable. Data on cosmic rays, magnetic fields, and interstellar plasma. But one recent transmission shattered that pattern. A burst of structured signals repeating, intelligent, precise, interrupted the usual hum of telemetry. At first, scientists thought it was a glitch, an artifact of deep space interference. But then it repeated. And then it stopped. The transmission ended not with static, but with silence. A complete, unnatural blackout, something Voyager 2 has never done before. No final beep, no farewell ping, just a wall of nothing. And what remains now is a question too big to ignore. What did Voyager 2 encounter? And who, if anyone, was listening on the other side? Voyager 2 was never meant to return. It was launched to explore, to observe, and to report back. After completing its grand tour of the outer planets, it began sending regular data packages from interstellar space, low-power transmissions that took over 18 hours to reach Earth. Each signal was carefully decoded and stored, forming the quiet story of the outer darkness. But in early May of this year, a team at NASA's Deep Space Network noticed something strange. A packet of data from Voyager 2 arrived earlier than scheduled, and it was different. Inside the usual metrics of cosmic radiation and temperature fluctuations, there was a repeating burst, a string of high-frequency pulses, interlaced with unexpected low-frequency gaps. No cosmic source produces that kind of structured rhythm. It was too organized, too deliberate. The first thought was a malfunction, maybe solar interference. But the source was clean. The signal had no distortion from solar winds or interstellar plasma. It came directly from Voyager 2. Engineers tried to replicate the pattern using onboard commands, but none of the known systems could account for the shape or timing of the burst. The spacecraft, it seemed, had transmitted something it wasn't programmed to send, something that looked more like a code than telemetry. And then it stopped. Not just the pattern, but all communication. For 48 hours, Voyager 2 went completely dark. Silence from Voyager 2 isn't normal. It's not built to go offline. Even at the edge of space, its transmitters are remarkable. NASA initiated emergency protocols rerouting resources to re-establish contact. But the truly unsettling part wasn't the silence. It was what the transmission left behind. AI-assisted decoders began analyzing the pulse structure of the last signal, and what they found was unnatural. Within the bursts were embedded timing intervals, prime numbers spaced with chilling regularity. This wasn't noise. This was designed. The data resembled early encryption patterns, almost like Voyager 2 had somehow encoded a message it wasn't built to create. But how? The spacecraft hasn't been updated in decades. Its systems are too simple, too analog. Some theorized that deep space radiation may have scrambled its systems into generating a pseudo-intelligence. Others whispered of a more bizarre idea, that something else may have altered the transmission. Could Voyager 2 have passed through a region where time or matter behaves differently? Could it have been intercepted? These questions weren't just speculative anymore. They were urgent, because what followed the signal was far more terrifying than any glitch. After 2 days, Voyager 2 came back online, but it was different. The data it sent afterward was degraded, distorted, and embedded with symbols no one had seen before. As researchers dug deeper, they began stripping away the raw signal layers to see if anything had been concealed in the frequency modulations. What they uncovered sparked instant controversy. In the quietest parts of the signal, spaces thought to be empty, there were faint waveforms, hidden frequencies, a sublayer of information below what Voyager 2 should have been capable of sending. The waveform pattern bore a striking resemblance to mathematical structures found in DNA, the Fibonacci sequence, and even planetary orbits. To be clear, Voyager 2 wasn't broadcasting images or sound. It was sending patterns encoded in bursts of energy. Scientists who've spent their careers studying cosmic noise admitted they had never seen anything like it. Even more intriguing was that the data could be interpreted differently depending on the method of decoding. When run through a Fourier transformation, the signal appeared as a three-dimensional spiral, like a strand of information winding into space. When translated through harmonic analysis, it began producing symmetrical sound waves that eerily mimicked the human voice. Distorted, alien, but undeniably rhythmic. It was as if Voyager 2 had become a medium relaying not its own signal, but someone else's. And whatever that source was, it was using Voyager 2 as a messenger. Inside NASA, silence became policy. Publicly, they acknowledged a minor anomaly in Voyager 2's signal stream. But internal communications paint a different picture. Documents leaked to independent observatories suggested that the signal structure was labeled as Voyager 2 passed near or through an area of deep space where interstellar phenomena altered its systems. Others argue it encountered an artifact, an object or presence that interacted with its instruments. A growing number of theorists proposed something even more disturbing, that the transmission wasn't a message for us, but a response to one of ours. Remember the golden record? That copper disk Voyager 2 carries into space with images, music, and greetings in 55 languages? What if someone found it and answered, not with words, but with data, encoded in a language not meant for speech, but for machines? If that's true, then this hidden transmission might be the first true moment of contact. And not through telescopes, not through UFO sightings, but through the oldest tool we've ever sent into the stars. As specialists continued to investigate the strange structure of the transmission, a subtle but crucial detail emerged: coordinates. Embedded deep within the time signature of the pulses were numeric sequences that resembled spatial positioning. But these weren't coordinates within our solar system. They pointed far beyond, toward an empty region of interstellar space, one that should be entirely devoid of matter. No stars, no known planets, no nebulae, just darkness. But when this region was examined more closely using infrared and radio telescopes, something unexpected surfaced: a cold spot, a perfect void, absorbing more radiation than it should. Some likened it to a gravitational anomaly, others to a cloaked mass. Could the transmission be directing us there? If so, why? Was it the source of the signal, or its destination? The scariest part? That same coordinate pattern has shown up before, in faint cosmic background readings from telescopes going back decades. It's as if something has been signaling us from that point for years, and Voyager 2 only now revealed the message hidden in plain sight. Desperate to decode the embedded layers, NASA fed the raw Voyager 2 data into multiple AI-driven language models. These systems had been trained on thousands of known linguistic, numeric, and mathematical patterns, from quantum logic to ancient languages. One by one, each AI tried to interpret the code, and one by one, each shut down. Not crashed, not glitched, they shut themselves down. One AI model, specifically designed to detect structure in unknown signals, labeled the transmission as a self-referencing recursive loop. In layman's terms, the message was talking about itself, a code that described the code endlessly. This kind of recursion is used in compression algorithms, in DNA, and in viruses. Cybersecurity specialists were brought in to assess whether the signal could be a form of digital contagion, a kind of alien malware not meant to harm our bodies, but our understanding. Some theorists believe the message wasn't meant to be decoded at all, that it was built to overwhelm, to confuse, and to force us to see something that couldn't be unseen. Amid the chaos, one independent researcher in Chile noticed something strange. When the signal was inverted, mirrored, and plotted across a temporal graph, it didn't just form a structure. It formed a face. Not a human face, not alien, something abstract but symmetrical. Something that looked back. The phenomenon quickly gained traction online, dubbed the mirror effect. Dozens of private labs attempted the same experiment and saw similar results. The signal, when reprocessed in different visual mediums, consistently produced patterns that seemed to react to human emotional input. When people focused on fear, the patterns distorted into chaotic webs. When they focused on calm, the shapes formed delicate spirals and waves. This suggested that the transmission was more than just data. It might be interactive, or worse, aware. If this is true, then Voyager 2 didn't just send us information. It established a two-way link, and we may have already said something back without even knowing. Just when analysts believed the event was over, Voyager 2 transmitted one last unexpected signal burst. This final package was compressed into a single massive pulse that took over 5 hours to decode. Inside, it contained a time-stamped archive of its last 3 days of telemetry, except it wasn't telemetry anymore. It was a continuous stream of symbols. No graphs, no solar data, no instrument readings. Just a spiral of geometric shapes growing tighter and tighter, as if compressing into a single point. At the very center of that point was a recurring emblem, a circle split into 3 segments. No one knows what it means, but that same symbol, down to its exact proportions, has been found carved into ancient structures across Earth, from Mesopotamia to the Andes. What Voyager 2 showed us in that last transmission might not be a discovery, but a reminder of something older than us, older than the stars, something that's been watching and waiting for us to look in the right direction. For decades, we believed that Voyager 2 was our lonely ambassador, an echo of humanity tossed into the cosmic wind, destined to drift unnoticed. But maybe we were wrong. Maybe we weren't alone. Maybe we were simply ignored. Until now. Because the signal it sent wasn't noise. It wasn't a glitch. It was a reply, or a test. And the silence that followed wasn't absence. It was deliberate. Something out there heard us. And when it answered, it didn't speak in words. It spoke in frequency, in pattern, in meaning woven through the void. This wasn't a cosmic accident. This was an encounter, wrapped in mystery and folded into mathematics, waiting for someone, us, to finally see it. And now that we've seen it, the question is no longer if we are alone. The question is why now? Why respond after all this time? And what happens next? Opinions in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the video on your screen for more mind-bending content. Keep waiting for another exciting Why adventure. And until then, stay curious and stay tuned. This is Why, signing off.